reform, and especially last year, there is a new kind of enlistment. Previously, they want to professionalize the whole army and try to hire more professionals, career servicemen. But now they cannot do that because they have to pay more. So now they cut that and also increase the number of conscripts. That is 1 year service, the soldiers.
It costs less money, but it's less professional. Less efficient in terms of military capabilities.
Yes, and also in terms of the weaponry and equipment. We know that it is one of the biggest weapon exporter in the world.
Is Russia.
It is not the biggest one, but the second one, the second largest one.
Next to the United States.
Yes, next to the US. And then, but itself, they have only 10% of the weapons that we say are modernized. So that is a grandiose plan for the president to make, to modernize its army. So from the two perspectives, that is manpower and the weaponry equipment.
Let's talk about the military equipment of Russia.
Later,
because
okay.
we know that actually we have a stereotype. Russia has a very advanced military manufacturing base. It has very advanced fighter jets, tanks, and missile systems. Is it just the case?
We may say that maybe 10 or 20 years ago, but now most of the advancement actually are sought after by other countries instead of its own military. So their next job is try to modernize its own arsenal instead of selling all other weapons to other countries to make money.
Okay, for that question, we cross over to Pavel Fleckenhauer in Moscow again. Mr. Fleckenhauer, we know that Russia is actually a very strong military power, but some say that it is being in decline. What is your estimate of the military capabilities of Russia right now in terms of its personnel, in terms of its hardware?
Well, that's officially Russian military leaders and political leaders have acknowledged that there are great problems with our armed forces. There are problems because their equipment is outdated compared to the equipment of the most modern Western forces. And then there's a very serious manning problem because the old conscript system is not working effectively and not providing enough quality soldiers. And the efforts to build a more professional military up to now have also been floundering. So it's a personnel crisis right now that's eating into the real battle readiness of our units, and outdated equipment that has to be replaced.
So what seems to be the problem? Why they can't equip their forces with enough people? What is lacking there?
There's organizational problems. There's the Russian population is increasingly doesn't want to send its sons to serve in the Russian military. It's unpopular, and there's a lot of draft dodging, and efforts to hire professional soldiers are floundered because either not enough money was allocated, or just simply our military chiefs don't know how to build and recruit a more professional military. They were never trained to do that. So it's of course a manning problem of soldiers and sergeants, but it's also a problem with our military top leaders, which were Soviet trained and don't understand how a modern, more modern Western military machine works. So we have to change that. We have to change our personnel, the outlook of our military, and at the same time rearm it.
And what happened to the used to be efficient and strong military power and military industrial manufacturing of Russia?
Well, of course, the Soviet Union fell apart, and up to half of our defense industry turned out in other countries. And say there was some kind of factory making some kind of components, and it turned out that it's not in Russian territory. And there were no orders for, say, a decade or two to buy these components. So of course, that factory disappeared, there's no workers, the equipment has been sold out for scrap metal or something.